Welcome to Rose Radio Show. I'm your host, Desert, and I hope you can hear me. I have to use my cell phone tonight because I'm not in the area. So I decided to have a little show tonight because I have a lot of stuff on my mind. I've been doing a lot of homework. I just finished with my finals, and I was thinking about some stuff, and here I am. Plus, I took like 2 naps today, so I'm up for a while, I think. I'm not sure. But anyways, welcome to the show, and I wish I knew if people could hear me or not, or if this phone is working well. I bought a new phone. I finally updated to this Galaxy 3 thing. I'm not used to it, and I don't know. But you know what's so cool about it? I can just talk in it, and everything, it texts for me. So I don't have to sit there and text anymore. I just talk in it. I just say, hey, call so-and-so, and then if it's a text, I just say text so-and-so, and I just say what I have to say, and then I say send, and the thing goes. I don't even have to pick up the phone. I could be driving. It's awesome. Anyways, it's good to be on my show. Well, I had a lot of stuff on my mind today, especially when it concerns art and politics. You know, there's a lot of stuff on politics going on, and I look here and there, and I'm trying to decide what's truth and not truth, and I am not impressed. I'm not impressed this year, so I kind of don't know where I would go on that, you know. I mean, I know it's important, but it's so discouraging. And one of the thoughts I've been thinking about is, you know, I came up with a quote today. Oh, my gosh, I'm so brilliant. I came up with a quote, and let me see if I remember it. I know I put it. Okay, I put it on my page. Oh, let me see if I could go to my page. But I put it all over Facebook. I was just like, oh, I'm so brilliant. But people who are unable to think outside the box are easy to control. And that kept going in my head all day today. And I was like, oh, my God, I came up with a quote. I'm brilliant. I'm just so brilliant. But what it's pertaining to is pretty much everything in life, but especially with politics and our government and the things that are going on right now. And I just feel like I've just been kind of awakened because I can see the whole picture tonight. I don't know if it's the ADD kicking in. I don't know if it's because I had too much iron or too much oxygen, but tonight, I could see the whole picture, and it's very discouraging. For some of you who know, I am back in the university, and I am finishing up my teaching credentials, right, to be an art educator. And it's real, I mean, and communications. I got my degrees in communication, too. But I've been thinking a lot about what I'm going to do with this degree because it's just kind of, I don't know, I felt it's really inspiring. But at the same time, you would think it's 2012, and you still have people here who believe art is like a flake degree or it's something that only occupiers do or, you know, just the thinking of art and how there's absolutely no credibility to it in this society. I'm talking about in the United States. In many, many cultures, almost all cultures, art is everything because art is your politics, your culture. It determines everything and it determines growth and ingenuity and creating things, you know. But here, and you know, I could see it. And when it has been about, 2005 or 2004, they started pulling art programs out of the high schools and out of elementary schools. And people thought, well, they don't need them. You know, it's no good. It doesn't do anything for them. So instead, it's like strictly history, math, science, etc. But music, art, drama, everything else is being pulled out of the schools. So now we have a generation. These are my beliefs, okay? This is not the beliefs of Blog Talk Radio or anybody, any group or anything like that. I'm kind of an individual thinker. But they pulled these programs out, and now we have a generation and elderly people, to people my age, who cannot think outside. They cannot imagine anything else except what people are telling them is right and wrong. They can't, and if you do try to think outside the box, you're labeled a progressive or a liberal or something like that, or, and if you're conservative and are creative, you get the same slack. You get the same kind of stuff. So what I'm thinking, what's happening is it's to control the public. It's to control people. So they pull these programs out, and now we have a generation of people who can't create anything, And thank God for what we can see. We do see, because of our technology and now with the computer, you see people as far as like YouTube, Ustream, citizen journalists, people creating their own jobs and going out there. But that's a handful. That's just a handful of people who were lucky enough to have some type of creativity in their life to where they can think outside the box. And I think that, we have a lot of people talking about how we have no jobs, and everybody's sitting there waiting for someone else to give them a job, a company to give them a job, and to be dependent on all these other factors for income, because you can't think. You can't think beyond anything else except what you were taught. And I think it's really sad, especially, it's 2012. We have the technology. We have so much. We have all the tools. We've got, oh, my gosh, everything. But when you really stop to think about it, no one's inventing anything. No one's creating new products. Nobody's doing, because back to, they took out the arts. So this is my vent, okay? So here it is. It's been getting such a bad rap, but without that training in your mind, without training your mind to think of problem solving, and, people think, oh, it's just colors and paint, but it's not. You're working a part of your brain, and it all connects when you start to invent something, or you start to develop something or come up with ideas. Without that being exercised, you have nothing. You have nothing. You're just like a empty shell. You have a knowledge. You could do some math. You could do some science. But without the creativity, you can't develop shit. I'm just saying, you can't develop nothing. And it just pisses me off. So this is my vent. I'm going to take a break because I need to go get me something to drink. And I'm hoping my phone's working, but we'll find out later. Now, I have been thinking a lot about this, and I'm actually started writing a book. I'm going to publish it, and I'm going to finish it, and it's going to be a text, and I can see it now. I am so excited. I'm going to write it. Well, I am writing it, but it's not, I'm not past chapter 2 yet. But it's getting there. I gotta sort it out, and I gotta put it all together and proof it and everything else. But I think it's a very, very important subject, and I looked all over the place, and there's nothing on it. There's only stuff about how art affects your learning, how kids learn, and possibilities, but it doesn't really, there's nothing out there explaining how it has really affected our society. I guess it's my thesis in a way. I guess you could call it that. That's my thesis. But anyways, where was I going with it? So, it's not going to be accurate, but just for a little bit of history, when art came here to the United States, when with art you had a lot of indigenous art, you had Native American art, and a lot of art like styles were not stolen, but adopted by others, etc. And at the time, people would approve or disapprove what art was appropriate. What art was appropriate for women, for men, how people were portrayed, and it was used politically, to manipulate a public, to a way of thinking, for different things, for the war, et cetera, all these different aspects. But then there was this time when civil rights and women's rights and people started speaking out and voices, demanding to be heard and demanding the right to vote, et cetera, that art just flourished. And those boundaries were broken, and people just did their thing. They did their art, and it did affect change in this country. It affected laws. It affected everything. Well, now I see it's like everything's progressed back. You have all this political correctness. You've got people walking on eggshells. What is right, what is wrong, what you can say, what you can't say, what your art can be like and can't be like. And it's getting ridiculous. And I think it's because of it being suppressed this is why we're in the situation we are today. I mean, it's not good. I mean, people think that, we're the best country in the world right now. Okay, you can patriotic, that's wonderful, but the truth is we're not. Okay, we're just sliding down the scale as far as progress, as far as creativity and everything else, because we are suppressed. And it's sad because we have everything here. We have the technology, we have the people, we have what education is available. I mean, everybody's able to receive one. But when you take out those programs, there's no growth. So that's what, why I'm venting. I'm just like so frustrated. It's sad. It's really sad. And it's also sad because there's a few people I've spoken to in the last several months, whether on campus or just chit-chatting or even when I was camping, I've talked to people and, it's like they have, as far as the economy, some don't see any hope and they can't even, I try to talk and inspire them to, think of something that you can do, that you could create, and it's almost seems like it's out of reach to them, Yeah, they can come up with some good ideas, but they won't, I don't know if it's out of fear or they just can't see it. They don't have the practice of thinking outside the box. They don't have the practice of doing things outside the box. They're in their safe little box, And it's sad to see because there are people that do have great ideas that have good, you could see the imagination's there. They just need to develop it, and they can develop something to create some kind of income or some kind of change in their life where they'll be happy for a while or, for good, or it comes out to a whole new career. Who knows? I mean, just like I've talked about this before, you have the Internet right now. You have the Internet where you can have endless blogs, okay? And it's not just blogging, okay, like you're just blogging just to blog. I mean, you have Twitter, you have Facebook, you have all these other ways you can connect with people with like minds. And as you brainstorm and talk with people as groups, who knows what's going to develop from that? You can make money off of blogging, or even like if you're someone who just cooks and you have awesome recipes and you're an awesome cook. Oh my gosh, you do a blog on just cooking, you put your recipes in there and you help others. Next thing you know, you wrote a book, and next thing you know, you have income. See, so it's like it does affect all of that. And I guess my frustration is I feel it's so sad that I have to explain this to people at a time when this should be general knowledge. I guess but it's not anybody's fault. It's just because the arts and music and just never was given credibility. And there was a time when it was, and that was a time when people flourished, and that's when we were inventive. You know, geez, we have a car. You know, we have the car. We have planes. We have buildings. We have so many things. Your furniture, your house, your clothing, everything was done by a designer or an artist. You had to go back to the artist. So this show is supposed to inspire somebody, but not really, because I'm busy. If you want me to pick up the phone, just press 1. And those out there who don't know, you can call in at 347-884-8261. You press 1, and you can join in on the call. And, you know, give me your 2 cents. I don't know. Tell me if I'm full of shit, or if you think I'm on the right line of thinking, you know, if this sounds kind of accurate. But the more I think about it, the more I am going to fight and stay in this line of, you know, I'm going to finish this out and finish out my degree in this and use it. You know, I'll be damned if I'm going to allow this to be one of those things that people think are worthless. And I'm going to prove people wrong. I know. Remember, I've been sick, okay? I've had a lot of problems. But this is not the health show. I'll do that tomorrow night. Right now I'm talking politics and art. And just 2, okay? So it's been a bad several weeks. You know, you've had those shootings at the theater. And then the recent shootings with the Sikh, and just like that, okay, like that. Okay, the shooter, obviously, you know, from what I'm seeing, I could see what kind of guy this guy was, okay? It's, we see them a lot. We see them here on Blog Talk Radio. We see them on YouTube. We see them everywhere on the Internet. And the mindless thinking that is just so, you know, instead of educating themselves before they react, they're just stuck in their way, and stuck in their hate and in their way of thinking. But if they were able to understand the cultures, whether they like the culture or not, you know, they would have known that they weren't Muslim or anything like that. But see, that's the kind of problems that happen when people are like that, when people are just in this closed-minded box. You look ignorant, and you know, and I understood that too. You know, people say, "Oh, you're ignorant. They really mean it. You're ignorant. You look like a fool." You know, I'm just saying, you look like a fool. You know, stop, breathe, educate yourself. Just tell yourself, you know what? No, I don't know everything. I need to read up on this, and not read up on this on hate sites. Really read up on it before you react, because you make an ass out of you and me. You know, I'm just saying. All right. God, I have a lot to talk. Man, I'm like hyper. Let's see. I'm going to check the house. Sorry about that. Or, you know, where I'm at. Okay. It is, okay, so off the subject for a second. It has been so hot. I don't know what's going on. This heat, this weekend it's supposed to be 112. I am not looking forward to it. All right, I guess this means I need a break because I'm going off topic. I was doing really good there for a second, but feel free, press 1 if you'd like to chime in, give me your 2 cents, you know, straighten me out if I'm wrong, you know, see what's going on. Number's 347-884-8261, and I'm going to play next. Oh, this is kind of cool. This is like I don't know what you call it. But because of the comments and things and people I talk to, it's been, I don't know, maybe kind of lit a fire under my butt. Not that I'm an activist of any sort. I could just see some things, you know, so I'm going to express it. And I'm also writing a book on it. Oh, I'm so happy. Well, I'm not happy, but I am. It's kind of cool. I never thought of myself as an author. Oh, it'll be interesting. Because, this week, I'll share a little bit of my life a little bit. But this week, I had a great uncle that passed away. And this is what kind of got me thinking about it also. He kind of had the same spirit I do, he's a Dutch citizen, and he was stationed in Indonesia. And he was 92 years old. And I helped him write a book, like a memoir of his life, but it's all in Dutch, so I never knew what it said. And it has like our whole family history in it, and it has my Oma and Opa, everything, even down to when I was born and my real father, and all this stuff was in there. But my job was to crop the pictures, and back then it was really hard. It was like 2000 or maybe like 1990s, 2000. And the graphics, even though we had the Macs and we did have Adobe Photoshop, it still was kind of difficult to get the pixels big. Like now you can take a tiny photograph and make it huge and make it clean. But back then it was really hard. So every time and these pictures were really tiny. They were only like 2 inches big. I don't know what kind of camera they used back then, but they were tiny. So I had to blow these up for the book. And we spent many, many hours on it. And, at the funeral, I was thinking about all the stuff he shared with me in his life. And one of the things he did is he started the Boy Scouts in Holland, and he's one of the he's one of the founders in Indonesia, but in Holland, he was like a professional Boy Scout guy. I don't know what he did, but he played a big part in it. And also here in the United States. And also, what else did he do? I can't think off the top of my head. But the same way I've been thinking, those kind of skills, those kind of, creative skills, how they would affect these young men in their lives, how it helped them become productive citizens. And it's the same concept. So, it got me a lot thinking about how art does the same thing. And, so I just totally lost my train of thought. You'll come back in a minute. I hope. I know I should have wrote this stuff down. Anyway, it just was really inspiring. Oh, yes. So here he has this book, and it's all in Dutch. And I was thinking, there's nothing written about that time, especially during the war and the concentration camps over there that they had in Indonesia and where they were staying. There was like a lot of stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, he wrote this stuff down, and there's like nothing in book form about this history, not in that detail. So my son is going to actually translate the whole thing to English, and we'll see what we can do with it. Hopefully, I think it'd be very interesting to see if anybody's interested in the stories, because I think it's very, a lot of history in it. But, okay, so getting back to my book, this is what I hope my book will do too. But we'll see. I'm just having like moments, it could be like moments of grandeur because I have a whole ADD and bipolar thing going on. So we'll see how that goes. But I don't think so. I think this is very valid stuff. So there was another thing with politics I was going to bring up. I totally forgot. I'm going to have to start writing my stuff down because I think at the time before my show, it's like, oh, I'll remember this, I'll remember that. But I don't. I have no clue. Just press 1 if you'd like me to pick up. All right. So I think it's very, I hope one or two of you understand what I'm saying. I hope it's making some sense. I just don't, so I'm also thinking, in politics, there's a lot of stuff that's been going on and with government and businesses. And I honestly believe a lot of these businesses that left, they're not coming back. They're not coming back. I mean, our country has changed. It's never going to go back. But the only way I think it can improve is if they stick freaking arts back into the schools and put emphasis on it so people can create jobs, you know, and people can create products and people can be inspired and work together. Because, like, one thought that comes to mind is, several months ago, I think this still there, but the whole Occupy thing. You had all these individuals who, you know, by looking at them on the YouTube or television, you could see they're creative, they're artsy, you know, a lot of them are college students, but there's still something missing because how is it, okay, this is just my point of view, right? There were some complaining about not having work. They all have their degrees and they don't have any work, but yet they were creative enough to get together and form a protest, even though it wasn't a solid protest on a particular subject, you know, like totally solid or with a solution, but they were able to go that far. I believe that if these kids were able to have art in their programs when they were in elementary school, they would have figured out that all the stuff they were creating to sleep in, they could have, you know, they made tents out of, you know, things that you wouldn't even think about. But in their mind, you know, if they were thinking right or using that part of their brain, they would have thought, oh, my God, I can make money off this. This is a product. I could just fix it. You know what I mean? And use the Internet instead of using the Internet and yelling into the camera, use the Internet to try to sell it or whatever they invented while they were doing that or ideas that they came up with. So stuff like that. There was only a handful that actually did that. There's a handful on Ustream and Livestream that actually use their creativity where they're actually making income now and they're actually, using the forum. But there's thousands of others who aren't. You know, so see, in that way, that's my example of how it affects people. You know, so you have these degrees in science, biology, chemistry, you know, nursing, but without the creativity behind it, backing it, you can't go forward to try to develop something, you know, out of, I guess that's what I'm trying to say, because part of creativity is making something out of nothing, you know, the ability to do that. And for some people, it takes a while. Like me, it takes me a long time. I am not, those who know me, I'm not really quick to think, okay? I usually just sit there and veg out for days or weeks, and then, boom, a light bulb happens, and there it is, you know. I have a brilliant idea. And during my final in one course, we were discussing MacGyver. And believe it or not, this is an economics class. We were talking about economics and money, and we were talking about Dan O'Reilly. You know, you should check out his tips on YouTube. He's kind of like that. He's an economist, or he's into economy. He's an economist, but he's very, very creative. And he comes up with these experiments, you know, about human nature and life and how it affects your money. And it does, you know. So we were talking about some of the stuff. And one example we used was like MacGyver, okay? MacGyver obviously had that part of his brain, you know, we're just this type of stuff. He obviously had that part of his brain exercised because you wonder where all the stuff you learn in art or music and you learn problem solving. You don't know it's there. You have no idea it's there. But when you got 5 minutes to live, suddenly things in your brain start connecting, and you invent something really fast. You create something really fast, and he would save himself, you know, with gum and tape and, you know, everything in his brain starts connecting. And that's how we work as humans. So if you don't exercise that part of your thought, That's what I come back to my quote. You're easy to control. You don't, you may think for yourself, but you can't think beyond the box. So that's my vent. That's how I feel. Those are my thoughts. Do not share with Blog Talk Radio. Do not share it with nobody else. This is just me. So, yeah, come at me if you guys don't like it. No, but you can feel free to, email me your comments or, tell me if I'm off base or maybe I'm, give me another perspective. But this is my perspective until I learn something else. I will be on tomorrow night, and I think I'm going to kind of talk about other stuff in health tomorrow. But today I just want to vent about art and politics and the stuff happening right now in our world. Oh, we got 16 whole minutes. Oh, my God, this is like the longest 16 whole minutes. And I'm just so excited about the archives. This is awesome. It rocks. I don't know what I did. I know I've been going to a lot of different sites, and there's a few that are starting to become my favorite, which is why you guys haven't kind of seen me, besides, trying to heal and all that. But it's really, and see, just like that, I had to think outside the box. I had to go, okay, I'm tired of these games. I'm tired of these jealous hosts bugging me here on Blog Talk Radio. People suffering from Rosalie envy. So I went out and I ventured out, and look what happened. I was like, oh, my God, this is awesome. I need some oxygen. All right, the number is 347-884-8261. And I hope this was an educational program. I hope it made sense to some. I know the delivery is kind of odd, and I'm talking very fast, but I'm just kind of inspired, I guess. I'm just kind of, wow, so frustrating. And because someone, came up to me and started not arguing with me, but talking to me about, well, what's that good for? What is art good for? And I was trying to explain to them how it affects everything, especially, the politics that's happening right now. A lot of the problems we have is because of that. Oh, yeah, before I go, one thing I want to talk about was the education. One person was telling me, we had an argument. I understand what they're saying, okay? I understand. I do understand. But they were talking about how they want to remove education. And they want to remove it from, everybody that's poor. They don't think that it should be paid for, and it's only for those who can afford it, et cetera. And I understand that from, I don't know. I understand. But it's not, I don't think it's realistic. A society that is uneducated and that is ill, like with healthcare, with the whole medicine and people, only those who can afford can get treated, and only those who can afford it can get educated. A society that's like that is divided against itself, and it'll fall. It'll fall. And the one thing that any successful country has is that their citizens are educated and healthy and able to compete. Well, I honestly think that, we're sick. This nation's ill because all those things aren't available right now. So people are becoming more ill, and education quality, because removing, arts and music and removing quality education is making our citizens dumb. I'm just saying. So that's part of the problem. And, some of the stuff we've had invented, computers, heart surgery, I don't know, everything has been invented by someone who was extremely poor. So if you suppress people because of their economic status, you don't know what could have been, what could have been developed in technology and science or anything. You limit the possibilities. So I know, I sound like a straight up liberal. I know, don't, but I'm talking realistically. You know, I'm thinking outside the box here. So, and that's what part of the issues in our politics right now is so much stuff. You know, we got healthcare, we got schools, we got jobs, we have military, like that. Okay, you have military people who are coming out and they don't have quality healthcare or they don't have quality living and things like that affect us as a country. So there's a lot of things that need to be fixed, and if people are fighting amongst each other, it's just going to fall. No progress, nothing's going to get done. So